friends! Today I'll be sharing a painting process by numbers, which is something I always wanted to do in my childhood, and finally, later in life, I got a chance to do it. Paint by numbers is literally what it sounds like. You have a pre-drawn sketch on a canvas, which is divided by numbered sections. Each number corresponds to a certain color that you need to paint the section with. I got this painting from Crafties to try it out and share my experience with you. The kit includes a reference, brushes, acrylic paints, everything you need to work on this project. What you'll have to add though is a paper towel for cleaning purposes and water, which I suggest to have 2 glasses of to keep your brush in use wet and wash it as needed. So the art medium I'll be using will be acrylics, which is a correct answer to my latest poll in the community section. Only 8% has guessed it right, which means this medium was not expected by a lot of you. So surprise! When I opened the box and saw the sketch on a canvas, for me it looked like a very detailed map of some geographical territory, and I told myself I did not have to choose such a complex kit as my first try, because it was going to take quite some time and dedication to complete this painting. When I was choosing which kit I wanted to try out, I was not thinking about that with my brain, I was only thinking with my eyes. That's how I ended up choosing this gorgeous painting, The Virgin by Gustav Klimt. You don't have to make the same kind of decision though, because Crafties has a variety of choices on their website, and many of them are less complex and way less intimidating. But if you want to be brave and committed like me, you can choose the most complex ones as well. Crafties kindly created a discount code for my subscribers and viewers, which you can find with a link in the description box of this video. While this is a bit of a long-term project and the canvas is larger than A5 format paper, consider using an easel. If you don't have one, not a problem, you can actually turn the box into an easel easily. Using an easel will save your spine and back from pain. Plus, you won't accidentally rest your hand on a wet canvas, so you'll also be saved from unnecessary complications. Before I start painting, I will number the colors and arrange them on this paper palette. The canvas is not just all white, the areas are pre-colored instead, which is a good way to create appropriate covering backgrounds for acrylic paints, and also it's helpful for you to be able to see the borders clearly. I made some swatches on the back of the canvas in case any of the paints would run out, so I could recreate them with my acrylic paints, but they didn't run out at all. At this point, I'm ready to start painting, and while I'm painting on this canvas, I'll be sharing tips that I learned throughout the painting process and also from other people who have already tried paint by numbers. But before that, why would you want to paint by numbers at all? This process is not for learning how to paint, but what it can do is calm your anxiety, improve your emotional well-being, enhance your mindfulness, and help you stay in the present moment. It will also challenge your patience. Painting by numbers is a meditative and soothing process that helps you relax. And that's because you don't have to think much during the process or prepare a lot of things in advance. The sketch is pre-made and the colors are already chosen for you. Finishing this painting is going to take some time, so during the process you can listen to your favorite music, an audiobook, or whatever you choose. Don't rush, just relax and enjoy this oddly satisfying process of neatly putting the battery color paints on the canvas. Now let's get back to the tips that you can use during the painting process. First of all, read the instructions that are written on the surface of the box attentively, because they are quite helpful. Some paint containers are hard to open and you might hurt your thumb while opening it several times. So consider taking the paints out of the containers onto a mixing palette. I didn't do it and my thumb will need some time to heal. Make sure to always have the brush wet, but not too wet to avoid transparent coloring. If the first layer will seem too thin, you can let it dry a bit and then add another layer of paint without worrying about the paint running out. Use enough paint to cover numbers and border lines too. As soon as you finish painting with one color, wash the brush right away, because these paints dry pretty fast on the canvas and you don't want to let them dry on the brush as well. But don't worry, the paint comes off the brush easily if you tap it into water right after you are done painting. Try to fill larger areas on the canvas first and use one color at a time. This way you won't have to switch back and forth to different colors and you won't be cleaning the brushes all the time. We don't need any extra work here, we are relaxing and enjoying the process. But on the other hand, along with covering larger areas, you should try to paint tiny areas as well. The ones that are near the larger areas that are already painted, because you might not be able to see what number was written in tiny sections later. Also, you might get bored of covering areas with one color only, so you can switch to other colors from time to time. Don't be afraid to pass border lines. Acrylic paints are opaque and you'll be able to cover them with other colors. Just don't pass them too much. To give the painting more complete look, you can also paint the edges like I did. In general, don't be afraid to make mistakes because you'll be able to fix them. For example, I am applying a wrong color here because I accidentally started using color number 9 instead of 6, but later I easily overpainted since acrylic is opaque. If you ever need to add another layer or paint to a certain section, you can hold the canvas against the sunlight and you will see what color the section is. But keep in mind that this trick only works on lighter colors. Border lines need to be covered by paints as well. What's also important during the process is to make sure that you start and finish filling certain areas with certain colors before switching your attention to something else. Once you lose focus and look away, you lose the spot as well, and it will not be easy to find it anytime soon. Trust me on that one. After you finish filling certain areas with colors, consider taking short breaks from looking at small details to avoid tiring your eyes. Look away from time to time for several seconds and blink to keep your eyes from drying. All the tips I shared in this video are optional to follow because we are all individuals with our own unique preferences. You might prefer doing certain things differently than it's suggested because your way might be easier or more convenient for you. When it comes to trying new things for the first time, following rules is good to get you started, but you should also give yourself some freedom to choose your own ways of doing those things. There are no wrong or right ways to approach this process, just the ways that suit you the best. After all, I do not regret choosing this beautiful painting by Gustav Klimt, and I'm glad I got a chance to recreate it. The reason why I chose it was the variety of colors on the painting. I made some research and found interesting information about this artwork. Original painting of the Virgin is actually an oil on canvas painted in 1913. The size of the painting is quite enormous. In the center of the composition we see a woman who happens to be a sleeping virgin. She is covered with a blanket that has spirals and flowers on it. They are partial bodies of several females around the sleeping woman, and they represent different stages of awakening process. The whole composition represents how the virgin is a captive of her own seductive imagination because she is asleep and cannot control her desires. The dark parts of the painting depicts the shortness of life and death. Klimt liked to use symbolism in his work, so this painting represents the stages and aspects of woman's existence, such as youth, beauty, uniqueness, tragedy, mortality. The original painting is exhibited in the National Gallery in Prague. As I was finishing the painting, I decided to use some glittery golden acrylic color to make details more unique and give the painting a personal touch. Also, while I was editing this video, I decided to add more details to the painting based on the original artwork. It took me 1 week to finish this project without adding more details that I just mentioned. And this is the final result. This was my first time painting on a canvas, and I will definitely be painting on canvases more. Let me remind you about the link and the discount code again. I'm sure you'll be able to find a painting kit you'll enjoy recreating, so if you decide to get one, let me know and share your impressions with me. If you already have tried painting by numbers, share your experience with us in the comments. Thank you for your attention and support, and I will see you in my next or previous videos. Bye!